Sometimes it's not what people say, it's what they show you through their actions. Caring goes beyond words, and when someone doesn't truly care, there are clear signs. Recognizing them helps you protect your peace, your energy, and your heart. When someone consistently puts their needs above yours, it becomes one of the clearest signs that they do not truly care about you, because genuine care is never one-sided. It is about balance, compromise, and respect. Yet when a person continually prioritizes themselves over you, it leaves you carrying the weight of the relationship alone. This might look small at first. It might be as simple as always choosing what restaurant to eat at or always deciding what show to watch. But over time, these small patterns reveal something bigger. They reveal that your voice is not considered, your needs are not valued, and your feelings are not respected. And while compromise should be natural in any relationship, compromise only works when both sides are willing to meet each other halfway, when only one person is constantly giving in and the other is constantly taking what they want. It creates imbalance that slowly drains the life out of you. You begin to notice that in moments when you need them most, they are either absent or distracted. You may be dealing with a stressful day at work, and instead of listening, they interrupt to talk about their own frustrations. You may be dealing with family challenges, but instead of supporting you, they steer the conversation back to themselves. And when you try to express your needs, they dismiss them or make excuses about why their needs matter more. It becomes a cycle where you shrink your voice just to keep the peace, and they expand theirs to always get what they want. The sad part is that after a while, you might start questioning yourself. You start thinking, maybe I am asking for too much. Maybe I should be more understanding. But the truth is, you are not asking for too much. You are asking for the bare minimum, the kind of care that proves someone sees you as equal, not as someone who exists to fulfill their comfort. When someone consistently puts their needs above yours, you notice how decisions are made. They invite you into their world only when it serves them, but rarely step into yours. If you have a big day or an important moment, they might forget or brush it off. Yet, when they have something important, they expect you to show up. They want applause, they want support, they want full attention. And while it is natural to celebrate each other, the imbalance shows up because the energy you give them is not the energy they give back to you. You feel like you are pouring into an empty cup, a cup that never overflows back into you. This behavior is not just about being selfish, it is about control, because when someone always places themselves first, they set the tone that your needs will never matter as much as theirs. They condition you to accept crumbs while they enjoy the whole meal. And if you continue to stay in that environment long enough, you start normalizing neglect. You convince yourself that this is just how relationships are meant to work. But deep down, you know it feels wrong, because true care makes space for you. It makes space for your emotions, your preferences, your growth, and your peace. It is never about one person shining brighter while the other dims. It is about both people holding light for each other. Pay attention to how people handle the small everyday choices, because that is where their true colors show. If they constantly ignore what matters to you, if they rarely ask for your opinion, if they take pride in always getting their way and never consider compromise, then what they are showing is not care. It is convenience. You are convenient when you meet their needs and invisible when you need them to meet yours. And the longer you allow this dynamic to continue, the more you begin to lose yourself in it. Your dreams get quieter, your feelings get dismissed, your presence becomes secondary, and eventually you realize you have been carrying the weight of two people while they carry only themselves. Care is mutual. It is supposed to be about meeting each other with patience, kindness, and understanding. But when you are with someone who consistently places themselves above you, you learn that they are not investing in you. They are investing in what you can give them. And once you recognize this truth, you can stop trying to convince yourself otherwise and see the reality for what it is. When someone disappears, when you need them the most, it is one of the loudest signs that they do not truly care about you, because care is proven in moments of difficulty, not in moments of ease. Anyone can stand beside you when life is good, when things are simple, and when you are shining, but it is during your storms when you need support, when your world feels heavy, and when you feel like you are falling apart, that their true character comes to the surface. If they vanish in those moments, if they make excuses, if they suddenly go silent, when your voice trembles or when your heart is breaking, it shows that they are not there for you. They are there for the comfort of what you bring when you are okay. The people who care about you do not run from your struggles. They lean in. They may not always have the perfect words, but their presence alone is proof that you matter. Yet when someone disappears, they show you that your pain is inconvenient to them, your needs are a burden, and your vulnerability is something they do not want to carry with you. They might tell you they are too busy or they did not know how to help, but the truth is, help does not always mean solving every problem. Sometimes care is just showing up. It is picking up the phone. It is listening without judgment. It is standing quietly in the same room. So you know you are not alone when they choose not to do, even that it reveals that their connection to you is shallow. Think about how it feels when you go through something difficult and the person you counted on is nowhere to be found. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you were sick. Maybe you were overwhelmed with responsibilities. And while you were silently waiting for that message or that call, it never came. And when you finally hear from them, it is when everything has already passed and the damage is already done. In that silence, you realize that their absence spoke louder than any words they could have said, because disappearing is not neutral. Disappearing tells you everything. It tells you that when love and care require effort, they are unwilling to give it. People who vanish in your hardest moments often return when things are easy again, because that is when you have energy to give them attention, when you can provide them with laughter, when you can fill their emptiness. But the cycle repeats. The moment you fall, they retreat, and you are left standing in the same loneliness over and over again. Real care does not vanish. It holds steady, even if imperfect. It does not hide from your pain. It does not turn your struggle into an inconvenience to be avoided. This behavior leaves lasting impact because it teaches you not to trust their words anymore. They may tell you they care. They may even promise they will be there, but promises without presence mean nothing. It teaches you to stop relying on them, and eventually it makes you carry your struggles alone. Even when you should not have to, you start keeping quiet about your pain. You start shrinking your needs because deep down you already know they will not show up. And every time that happens, it slowly convinces you that maybe you are asking for too much. But the truth is, you are not asking for too much. You are asking for the basics of human connection. Someone who says they care but disappears when it matters most is showing you that their care has limits, and those limits stop where effort begins. It is important to notice this pattern early because consistent absence is not an accident. It is a choice. It is not that they do not know you are hurting. It is that they choose not to enter your hurt with you. And someone who makes that choice over and over again is telling you clearly that your struggles are not important enough for them to carry. And when you see it for what it is, you begin to understand that true care cannot be hidden. It cannot be silent, and it certainly cannot disappear when life gets hard. When someone does not listen or remember what matters to you, it becomes one of the clearest indicators that they do not genuinely care about you, because listening is not just about hearing words. It is about valuing the person behind those words. It is about showing interest and attention in the details that make you who you are. When a person repeatedly ignores what you say, interrupts your thoughts, or forgets the things that matter to you, it reveals where their priorities truly lie. They may nod their head in the moment, but if your words vanish from their memory the next day, it shows that they were never fully present in the first place. And real care requires presence. It requires choosing to engage with your heart, not just with their ears. Think about how it feels When you share something meaningful and it is brushed aside, maybe you told them about an important event coming up, and when the day arrives, they forget completely. Maybe you shared something personal, something that took courage to say, and later they act as if they never heard it at all, or worse, they change the subject back to themselves without even acknowledging your feelings over time. Those moments cut deeper than you realize, because it is not only about being unheard, it is about being unseen. You begin to feel invisible around someone who refuses to pay attention to what matters to you, and that invisibility weighs heavier than silence. When a person truly cares, they carry pieces of you with them. They remember your likes and dislikes. They know what brings you joy and what causes you pain, not because they have to, but because they want to. But when they do not care, you notice how easily your words slip through the cracks. They remember what benefits them. They recall the details that serve their interest, yet the things that are meaningful to you vanish from their mind almost instantly. This kind of selective listening is not forgetfulness. It is indifference, because we all make space for what we value, and if you are not valued, your words will not stay with them. It is painful to realize that you repeat yourself over and over again because they were not paying attention the first time. You may find yourself having to remind them constantly of things you already said, or correcting them when they misremember something simple, and after a while, it begins to feel like you are talking to a wall. You wonder why you keep sharing when it never seems to land. But that wondering is the point, because once you recognize that your words are not being received, you see the truth about their care or the lack of it. Care lives in the little details. It is remembering your favorite food when you are too tired to cook. It is asking about the meeting you were nervous about. It is recalling the story you told weeks ago and checking back in to see how it turned out. Those things may seem small, but they carry the weight of love and respect. When someone dismisses those details, it is because they do not see you as a priority. Your life is background noise to them, something they tune in and out of whenever it suits them. This pattern over time erodes trust, because communication is the foundation of connection. And when one side is always dismissed, unheard, or forgotten, the foundation cracks. You stop sharing openly because you already expect them not to care. You guard your heart because you know your words will not stay with them. And slowly, the relationship becomes shallow, built only on surface-level interactions that never reach any depth. Someone who does not listen or remember what matters to you is showing you that their focus is elsewhere. They may be present physically, but mentally and emotionally, they are checked out. And when you notice this happening consistently, you learn that their actions are louder than their promises, because someone who cares never makes you feel like your words are wasted. They show you through attention, through memory, and through presence that what matters to you matters to them too. When someone only reaches out when it benefits them, it becomes one of the strongest signals that their care is conditional and self-serving, because real care is consistent. It is not driven by convenience. It is not about what they can gain from you, but about a genuine connection with you. Yet when you notice that the only time they text, call, or show interest is when they need something from you, the truth starts to reveal itself. They are not showing up for you. They are showing up for the role you play in their life. Whether it is your support, your advice, your resources, or simply your time, their pattern of behavior becomes clear because their presence is not rooted in care. It is rooted in self-interest. At first, this behavior might be easy to overlook because everyone gets busy and sometimes people forget to check in. But over time, the pattern separates itself from occasional forgetfulness and becomes a habit. You start noticing that they rarely ask how you are unless it ties back to something they want. They may reach out when they need a favor, when they need someone to listen, when they are lonely, or when they need help. But when life is calm, when they have what they need, you hardly hear from them, and it leaves you questioning whether you matter to them at all outside of what you can provide. It is as if your value exists only in what you give, never in who you are. The feeling that follows is emptiness, because no matter how much you give, no matter how often you show up, they do not return that same energy. You find yourself carrying the responsibility of the relationship while they pick and choose moments that serve them best when you are in pain. They are silent when you succeed. They may be absent, but when they are in need, suddenly your phone lights up with their name and the cycle continues again and again, leaving you drained from giving while receiving little to nothing in return. This kind of one-sided connection creates imbalance because it is not rooted in mutual respect or shared investment. It is rooted in what they can extract from you, and it slowly chips away at your self-worth because you begin to wonder if people see you as a person or as a resource. Do they value your heart or do they value your help? Do they love who you are or do they love what you give? And once those questions arise, they are hard to silence because deep down, you know that genuine care is never about transactions. It is about trust. When someone only reaches out when it benefits them, it also exposes their lack of presence in your life. During moments that do not serve them, they do not call to check in on your ordinary days. They do not celebrate your small wins. They do not sit with you in silence when you are simply existing. They appear only when their world demands it. And in doing so, they show that they are not truly connected to you. They are connected to their needs. And once those needs are met, they retreat again, leaving you feeling used instead of valued. The danger of allowing this cycle to continue is that it becomes normalized. You start expecting them to show up only when it suits them, and you lower your expectations to avoid disappointment. But in doing so, you accept crumbs where you deserve consistency. You begin to silence your needs and tell yourself at least they reach out sometimes. But the truth is that sometimes is not care. It is convenience because care is proven when there is nothing to gain and still they choose to show up. Pay attention to who calls when they do not need anything. Pay attention to who listens without expecting something in return. Pay attention to who stays even when silence is all you have to offer. Those are the ones who truly care. The rest will reveal themselves in their patterns, and once you recognize that someone only reaches out when it benefits them, you can stop mistaking their convenience for connection and see their actions for what they truly are. When someone dismisses your feelings or makes you feel guilty for expressing them, it reveals a deep lack of care, because true care never belittles emotions and never turns vulnerability into a weapon against you. Expressing your feelings is a natural part of connection. It is how trust grows. It is how intimacy builds. But when you open up to someone who does not genuinely care, you find your honesty twisted into something negative instead of being heard. You are told you are overreacting instead of being comforted. You are told you are too sensitive instead of being understood. You are made to feel guilty for simply having emotions, and that guilt slowly teaches you to silence yourself. At first, you might brush it off thinking maybe they did not mean it, maybe they just had a bad day, but over time the pattern becomes undeniable. Every time you try to share what is on your heart, they find a way to minimize it. They compare your struggles to others as if to say yours do not matter. They dismiss your worries as unnecessary. They laugh off your hurt as if it is a joke. And each time they do it, the message grows louder. Your feelings are not welcome here. Your emotions are too much. Your heart takes up more space than they are willing to give. And the damage of this is not small because it trains you to question your own reality. It convinces you that what you feel is invalid. The weight of being constantly dismissed is heavy because you start to second guess every thought before speaking. You rehearse your words, wondering if they will take them seriously. You hold back tears because you already know they will not offer comfort, and eventually you begin carrying everything alone, silenced by the fear of being mocked or blamed. And this silence creates distance because relationships built without emotional safety cannot grow. When someone does not make room for your feelings, it is not just a lack of care, it is a lack of respect. When care is real, it listens without judgment. It may not always agree, but it never makes you feel guilty for being human. It acknowledges that feelings are not weaknesses, but truths of the heart. But when someone dismisses those truths, they strip away your sense of worth piece by piece. They make you doubt whether your emotions matter, and in the process, they make you doubt whether you matter. If every time you cry, they roll their eyes, if every time you speak up, they call you dramatic, if every time you show pain, they turn it back on you with blame, then you are not being cared for. You are being controlled through shame. This kind of behavior often goes unnoticed at first because it hides under the surface of jokes, sarcasm, or casual words. But the impact is not casual. It teaches you to abandon yourself for the sake of peace. It makes you shrink your needs so you do not upset them. It makes you apologize for feelings you never should have to apologize for. And that is how people who do not care keep control, by making you feel guilty for wanting basic empathy, by making you doubt yourself until you stop expecting anything from them at all. Over time, you may realize that you have become quieter, more guarded, and less willing to share, and that shift is not who you truly are. It is a reaction to being with someone who dismisses you consistently, because people who care create space. They encourage expression. They hold your feelings with gentleness, even when they do not understand them fully. They never punish you for being honest. But people who do not care will always find a way to make your emotions inconvenient to them, and in doing so, they reveal that their presence is not safe for your heart. Pay close attention to how someone reacts when you express your pain, because that reaction tells you everything. If they listen, if they stay, if they try to understand even when it is hard, then there is care. If they dismiss, if they mock, if they shift the blame onto you, then there is not. And once you see this clearly, you stop questioning your worth and you stop carrying guilt that never belonged to you in the first place.